All right, Ronan MMA, welcome back to the channel. Now, just 2 days ago, Dricus Du Plessis versus Israel Adesanya was announced for UFC 305 in Australia, and I want to talk a little bit about it because, as I just said, dude, 2 days ago this was announced, and already we have Israel Adesanya going after Dricus Du Plessis, essentially because of the color of his skin and race baiting, as he tends to do, and I want to talk a little bit about it. Now, first of all, I just want to get this out of the way. This is, in my opinion, a completely and totally undeserved title shot. Okay, Israel Adesanya is coming off of a loss. He is 2-2 in his last 4 fights, and he is 4-3 in his last 7 fights. Okay, like, this is unbelievably, in my opinion, undeserved. I understand that he's a superstar and things like that, but he hasn't done anything to earn it. He sat out. Dana White always says that he doesn't like when dudes sit out and wait for title shots, but it is what it is. We got it, so let's talk about it. Now, I want to remind everybody of a few things, so we're going to go like this, okay? Now, this is the post that I'm talking about where Israel Adesanya is attacking Dricus Du Plessis, based on the color of his skin. He says, could have joined I don't know who he's texting, but could have joined the Three Kings, but instead wanted to claim it all for himself. I wonder where that mindset comes from. Okay? Israel Adesanya replies back, his ancestors. All right? Now, I just want to point this out. Okay? Israel Adesanya attacking somebody because of their ancestors, in my opinion, is absolutely and totally unhinged if you are aware of the things that his ancestors did. So let's just go over that a little bit, okay? Now, Israel Adesanya, right here, multilingual, fluent in Yoruba, right? Because he is of the Yoruban people from Nigeria, right? Now, we can go look at this, okay? Yoruba people in the Atlantic slave trade, right? The Yoruba people contributed significant cultural and economic influence upon the Atlantic slave trade during its run from approximately 1400 until 1900. So for 500 years, his ancestors were trading slaves, okay? They even had classes of slaves, and they would treat them based on what class they put them in, okay? They had an unbelievable influence. They were a huge player in the transatlantic slave trade, and it's rich that Israel Adesanya would go after Dricus Du Plessis based on his ancestors when Israel Adesanya's ancestors did things that are equally as horrible, okay? And then you go to slavery in Nigeria. This is what this article is, right? Yoruba. Slavery had traditionally existed among the Yoruba people before it was officially abolished by the British in 1983 during colonialism, all right? Owning slaves was a status symbol in Yoruban society. A Yoruba person who owned slaves displayed signs of being wealthy and influential person. Now, Israel Adesanya comes from a relatively wealthy family. He had servants growing up. We know this. He has spoken about it on multiple occasions. Now, slaves were typically captured during territorial expansionism, which one might call that colonialism in a way, but of course, because they're not white people doing it, they don't call it that, but we'll continue. And internal and intertribal wars, all right? If a town captured another in a war, the captured people would become enslaved by their captors. Slaves typically worked for powerful elites of the Yoruba society, and they were tasked with farm cultivation, clearing land, or other personal purposes. Okay? They had, as I said, dude, categories. This is common in his culture. His ancestors, okay, could have very well been horrible slave traders, especially because he came from a wealthy family. All right, we know this. We do know this. And Dricus Du Plessis, this is what drives me absolutely up the wall. Said something so simple, so basic. He wants to be the first African champion fighting out of Africa. Okay. Israel Adesanya showed a lot of pride in the fact that he was a champion from Africa. Francis Ngannou did as well, but notice Francis Ngannou hasn't really touched on this topic because he probably isn't insecure about where he comes from, because he came from Cameroon and then moved very late in his life, whereas Israel Adesanya is, you could say, nationality fluid or national fluid, some shit, dude. Chinese, Nigerian, in New Zealand, he claims everywhere. But when Dricus Du Plessis wants to claim Africa, it's a fucking problem. This is insane to me. I don't understand this mindset of attacking people based on their ancestors. Dricus Du Plessis had absolutely no say who he was born to, what family he was born to, what culture he was born to. That's just a fact. The same way that Israel Adesanya, who is Yoruba, has no say in what his ancestors did hundreds of years ago. Okay? So it is what it is. Also, I want to point this out as well, because this is a very common theme among Israel Adesanya. As I said, of course, there was the Dricus Du Plessis thing, but also we have got this, and I just want to remind the fans of Australia, okay, before this fight. Israel Adesanya does not like you guys. He looks down upon you guys, and he calls you all racist. And this is why he thinks you guys rooted for Sean Strickland opposed to him, okay? Even though one could come up with a very logical reason as to why A guy from Australia might not like Israel Adesanya, and it's got nothing to do with the color of his skin, okay? Australia had a champion in Robert Whittaker. Israel Adesanya beat him once brutally by knockout, and the second time was a very close fight. I kind of think Robert Whittaker should have gotten the nod, but regardless, he beat him, okay? You don't think there's going to be salty fans when you knocked out their guy in front of them? Do you know what I'm saying? Insane to me. Israel Adesanya points to racist Australian fans crowd as the reason for Sean Strickland's overwhelming support at UFC 293. Okay, this is common theme. When he was asked about it, nah, they're racist. Also, I think it's just me and them. It wasn't my week. It was just him. He knows how to pander. He's a great politician. Put it that way. He's a great politician. But yeah, it was his week. He starts off with, nah, they're racist. Then tries to come up with a different reason, okay? So just remember that. When Israel Adesanya is in Australia fighting against Dricus Du Plessis, remember that he thinks you guys are racist, and that's why you don't like him, even though, as I said, one could come up with perfectly logical reasons to not like Israel Adesanya, and it has nothing to do with his skin whatsoever, okay? This is insane to me. I can't stand it. However, I will say this. Israel Adesanya doing this, going this route, I just hit my mic, I apologize, is going to, in my opinion, help pay-per-view sales. I think that this kind of heat behind a fight, this kind of build up to a fight, while it might be a little bit, dare I say, toxic, okay, I fucking hate that word, but either way, dude, it will help pay-per-view sales, I believe, because it's going to very much so intensely heat things up. And while I personally don't really like it, because I do think Israel Adesanya will actually get the job done against Dricus Du Plessis, it probably will help for pay-per-views. But I wish that somebody would call him out for his people, okay? Because he likes to do that constantly. He will call you out for your ancestors. Things that happened in the past, long ago. Dricus Du Plessis was not even born when some of this stuff happened, okay? All of this stuff. I don't even think Dricus Du Plessis was born during apartheid, okay? So this mode of attack from Israel Adesanya, in my opinion, is absolutely ridiculous. And I think that it shows his insecurity of where he's from, because he's hopped around so much. He's claimed so many different countries. And it drives me nuts. Okay? That's it, dude. That's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to remind Israel Adesanya of his ancestors, since he likes to go after other people's. Wanted to remind the Australian fans that he thinks you guys are racist. Okay? So, you might not want to cheer for this dude, because he's a bit of a dick. Alright, now, anyways, dude, like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I will see you at the next video. Bye-bye.